Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we are just winging it. Today I got a data set that was sent to me recently from a gentleman whose name I will not mention. But this was a good one, man. This one actually stumped me for a hot minute. And I don't know if maybe my brain was just fried from looking at copious amounts of data or the VRF batch analyzer that I've been writing code for, which I do not recommend. That's actually going to be able to take CSV files and export them into a analyzed format that just, basically finds discharge superheat, suction superheat, subcooling, flags how many times it goes into those modes, and then tells you how many times in each data set, and then highlights them and writes a report for you. So no big deal there. Easy stuff, really, to be honest. But today's data set, I feel like I should say today's data set is brought to you by PBS Kids. No, just kidding. They're not a sponsor of mine. Today's data set is about refrigerant bypassing. When nothing makes sense, which, you could sit here and argue, okay, Roman, nothing makes sense when I look at data. And that may be true. But when we talk about things where we're looking at problems, but we don't know where it's coming from, and it doesn't make sense, sometimes we have to step back and just kick for a field goal. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like and how we get to that point. So this data set was really great because, again, you don't see many like it. This is a triple module, right? This is my gang sign today. VRV3 triple module system, heat recovery. And we have an issue where he's lost multiple compressors on this system, has not been able to pinpoint the exact cause of the failure, which it happens. For this specific instance, he knows he has low discharge superheat, extremely low discharge superheat, and also low suction superheat. He just can't find the floodback. So when we're out there in the real world, and this happens almost on a daily basis, you get into these situations and these scenarios where, you see the problem with your own eyes. It's right there. There's the problem. You're the problem. Just kidding. You're not the problem. Well, maybe you are. The problem is this: low discharge superheat and low suction superheat. Now, the issue becomes, where the hell is it coming from and how do we find it? Because you could easily say, okay, sure, we know how to measure suction superheat. We know how to measure discharge superheat. It's somewhere, just look in the data, Roman, and you'll find it. Maybe it's here. Is it in here? Maybe it's in here. Just fall out. No, it's not in here. And sometimes it's not in here. And that's okay. But here's the thing. There are subtle, small hints that get easily overlooked when we try to rush through the data. And again, my word of rushing is sitting here and trying to analyze it within minutes. And that's just something that I've come to get used to because that's my process. Everybody's process is different. I had to step back from this data set because I was banging my head against the wall. Maybe I'm a fraud. Maybe I am a fraud. And I had to come with the reality that, okay, this one's a good one because I can't find the problem. And then I found it and I was like, wow, I feel like an idiot. But I'm not, and neither are you. So these things happen, and it's not something that you beat yourself up over. Sometimes you have to step back and you have to ask for help, and that's what you're here for. You're here to ask for help, and I'm going to give it to you because I'm going to show you exactly how I found this and why it was so difficult to find. Now, something fun to do, in your spare time, in your leisure time, 'cause you get so much time, is populating system current amps. And sometimes you can just go through the data set, and this is 28 hours, just so you know, and you can kind of see some crazy high spikes. Remember that really energy usage that you see here on system current data is the total amount of current for all three modules for VRV3. And so, when we see those large giant spikes, and I don't see anything too crazy, but sometimes it's fun, use that term very loosely here. You're watching my YouTube channel, so clearly you have no idea what fun is, and neither do I. But that's okay. We're here in this together. You could go to a spot where you see a large spike, and you could look at it and you could say, okay, clearly here is where I get a high amount of current draw on my system, which means that this is probably the highest the compressor speeds get. This is probably the highest amount of demand. Remember, amps correlate to what? High compressor speeds. Why would we have high compressor speeds? Well, you'd have high compressor speeds during a high amount of load or demand on the system. And so if you're trying to find the root cause of a problem, when I teach technicians and when we talk about VRF as a whole, it's important to understand that you do have to run these systems to stress them out to find the problem sometimes. And so if I have a data set that's really like my head's banging against the wall here and I can't figure it out, I'll sometimes just toss current on the screen and I'll run through it really quickly and I'll go, where's the highest point. Here it is. What was it doing during that time? How does it look? How is it performing? And that might give me a little bit more of an inclination as to where to go. And for this data set, it did for the most part. But again, this was a tough one. This was a tough one. This was a good one. I really enjoyed this. Okay, so let's just jump into it like we always do. Let's peel this onion back, right? I should get a shirt that actually shows that. Heat exchanger gas temp, right? 158. That's actually pretty good. Inverter discharge temp. This one's pretty high. Well, wait a minute, Roman. You said there's low discharge superheat. Okay, low discharge superheat. I'm not lying here, guys. Okay, I saw it. It exists. It's here. This one is pretty good. Let's look at the other module. It's probably off, and it is off. Okay, not a big concern here. But here's the thing. It gets really weird outside of that small data snippet. So that's the spot that I started. I was like, oh yeah, high amp draw, let's do it. Whatever. That's what I'm used to when I'm banging my head against the wall. Come to find out, I had to do the opposite. So another life lesson here, guys. When you're troubleshooting data and you go with what you normally do and it doesn't work, do the opposite. And you'll find something cool happens. You'll find the problem, which is what we're here to do in the first place. All right, so you're going to sit here and you're going to say, whoa. Discharge inverter temp, 95 degrees. It's not running. Oh, but she's running. Look at that, 66 RPS. And she's just chugging away here, and she's happy to be here. She doesn't know why she's here, but she's here. 95 degrees. What's my condensing temp? Holy crap, 91.4 degrees. That's barely a 4-degree discharge superheat. That is low. So what do we know about low discharge superheat? It only means one thing, everybody. One thing. It means we're compressing liquid. Well, how bad could it be? Let's take a look. Suction line temp here, 44, 41. Okay, well, now this is where a lot of guys like to throw shoes and bricks at me. 41 degree suction temp. 44 degree suction temp, 41 degree TE. You're going to say, well, it's above 41, so it's a vapor. But here's the thing. The closer this vapor gets to the evaporation temp, the more the mixture becomes a liquid. It's when it hits the evaporation temperature that we are 100% liquid. Let me say it again. 100% liquid, which means that if I'm 3 degrees off, which is why we have that range, 3.5 is the lowest, and that's even really dangerous for a compressor. 2 degrees, 1 degrees, you'll have people out there who are going to argue it's 100% vapor. And no, science doesn't work that way. It's not, you don't see, so let's back up here, right? If I take a bottle of water, okay, and I put it in the freezer, and the bottle of water and the water reaches 32 degrees. Does the entire bottle go poof, ice? No, it is a gradual change of molecules turning to a solid. The same thing happens for refrigerant. It's no different because it abides by the same physics principles that we live with here in our universe, in our atmosphere, and then the planet Earth, okay? So with that being said, the closer you get to saturation, the larger the mixture is leaning towards liquid. So this is bad. This is a very low suction superheat. And then how do I know that it's compressing liquid again? Because my discharge superheat is 4 degrees. Give that compressor a break. 32 is the lowest I want to see it, and I'm at 4. Yeah, so she's probably shaking like a paint shaker, but that's okay because we're going to save the day here. So this is the master module. Let's skip over to the submodule. What's the submodule look like too? So we're going to come over here, 66 RPS, mirrored revolutions per second, and it's just as bad. 95 degrees here, 93.2 condensing temp, 2 degrees discharge superheat. I feel very bad for these compressors right now because they are just literally getting beat to a pulp by liquid refrigerant. No wonder you've lost compressors. But here's the thing. When we were over here, let's go back. Let's go back. Whoa, here we go. Inverter discharge temp, 158 degrees. That's good. Wow, okay. So it's not flooding, what? All the time. Well, that's a key indication. Okay, so I should not check it in this specific data set spot, right? I should go back to when it is flooding. So here's the thing you need to understand about data analysis. I'm going to slow this one down because I have a tendency to talk really fast when I get into these weeds here, okay? In the data set, we know what discharge superheat is. We know what suction superheat is. We know what subcooling is. If you find a data set spot here that is good, and you find a data set spot where it is really, really bad, it's perfect. Because what this allows you to do is saying, this is good, this is bad, what changed? What changed? And the science is as easy as that. What is different between this data set spot and this data set spot? Because this is where we get into the weeds of, is it a solenoid valve? Is it an expansion valve? Is it a coil? Is it a four-way? Is it an indoor unit? Is it piped wrong? Is the sensor broken? We can go down that rabbit hole of checking 1,000 million parts, but again, we want to find it pretty quickly because compressor's health is on the line here. We're ticking against a clock. This is like an armed gunman holding a gun to a hostage's head. We got to find the problem now. And so with that being said, we go and we look at what changes. And if you find, because you'll find those very rare data set points where a solenoid opens and then it closes. And when it's open, it goes really, really bad. It's this bad data set. But when it closes, everything is great. There's no problems. The system is great. So guess what? 1 + 1 is 2. That solenoid valve is probably bad, or it's doing something it's not supposed to. It's dumping something somewhere it's not supposed to. It's bypassing somewhere it's not supposed to. It's plugged into the wrong spot on the board, and when it's open, it's actually closed, and when it's closed, it's actually open. It's happened. Okay, they're different colored plugs, but they still fit in the same slots on VRV3. So rant over. Let's jump back. So we know we have low discharge superheat, we have low suction superheat, we've got all the makings for liquid compression, and it shows. Okay. And I'm going to jump to the solution so I don't make this a 40-minute video. What about O3? What does the outdoor module number 3 look like? And so what I do here is I want to say, okay, this unit, 0 RPS. And this is my favorite thing to do. Hands down, favorite thing. Not the current. Forget the current. Who cares about current? Let's talk about RPS. I love to grab something because ADHD, sure, mindset. I don't care. I'll own it. And I like to go like this. And this is how they go, wait a minute. And we do this on our preventive maintenances, and my customers and clients, they always say the same thing. They go, how the heck do you know that compressor is locked out? And I'm like, dude, I looked at 28 hours of data, and that thing never turned on. And it should have turned on like 9 different times. How do I know it's supposed to turn on? Well, because when the system ran up full max and it couldn't meet the actual targets, right? TC targets, it can't hit the targets. What is it supposed to do? It's supposed to turn on that third compressor, that third module, to increase the demand on the system. And guess what, buddy? It never did it. And why didn't it do it? Because it's locked out. See, it's one of these things where we take small things like that for granted. If I can go through this entire data set and see that this compressor never comes on, well, buddy, gosh golly, that sub 2 module is completely locked out. And again, sure, in low load situations where maybe only one module runs, maybe not. But remember, outdoor rotation is a thing. And so the units are designed to evenly wear compressors. We've talked about in other videos. If I see a compressor like this that never turns on, I know that this third chassis, this triple module system, sub 2, right? The last module, sub 2 module, third module, number 3, trace, there we go, got Spanish for you, is locked out. It's closed. Okay, so knowing VRV3, and we know this is locked out now because I just showed you and I proved it to you. Don't make me say it again. Just rewind the video. Now we look at, well, does it ever use this unit? The thing about VRV3 and VRV4, when you lock out a module, the module goes, yeah, bro, I'm not up to it. I'm not doing anything, right? Don't send me no refrigerant. I got a workman's comp claim. It's not going to happen. So just pretend I'm not even here. Like, should I even show up to work? VRV3, it's like, yeah, I've got 2 broken legs, but I'm going to show up for you. I'm here for you. So send me some refrigerant and I'll do the best I can. So now that I know that this module is locked out and that we have a liquid refrigerant problem, where am I going to go? I'm going to go where the unit's locked out. Okay, naturally so. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to see valve pulses. Does it ever use this module to do anything with refrigerant? Oh, we got a little opening there. Ooh, watch out. 50 pulses. That's something. Okay, let's keep going. Does it use whoa, here we go, 480 pulses. Okay, well, let's see here. 480 pulses, wide open, not a good thing. However, heat exchanger gas temp 127. So we at least know the refrigerant's going in the right direction. In cooling mode, it does go for full open, so that's not unusual. Does it use it for anything else? And the answer is no, right? When it switches modes, sure, we're back into cooling again, sends hot gas. So now the question is, let's play the game, where's the liquid refrigerant? And so now we're going to look at this module and see it's mostly at 0 pulses. And that's great. Let me go to a spot where everything else is complete and utter dog crap. Yes, I said dog crap because that's what this is. 104 degree discharge temp. Oh man, this makes me want to cry. And 100 degrees. So it's 4 degree discharge superheat. It's great. Loving it. Mint. If you squint, it's mint. All right, let's do this. What does the sub 2 module look like when the valve is closed? Okay. Let's get rid of this last one here. This is garbage. Get out of here. Garbage. Out of here. Get out of here. Oh, you know what I haven't done yet? I haven't shown you guys the beautiful drawings. Let's bring in the classic. Can't beat the classics, guys. Come on. All right. So this is cooling, heating, parallel operation. That's what we're in right now. This module is not being used, although it looks like it is being used. So guess what? This valve is at 0 pulses. Oh, look at that XO. Heart and a kiss just for you. This is at 0 pulses. With it being at 0 pulses, what does that tell me? 0 pulses means there should be 0 flow through this coil. How do I know if something is flowing through a coil? You ask. Silly you. I look at this temperature sensor here, or this temperature sensor here, or this temperature sensor here. I've really got a wide variety. I've got 3 sensors. What do we know about refrigerant that's not flowing through an evaporator coil or coil in an evaporative state? We know that it should match TE when it closes, because remember, refrigerant's boiling off. But then eventually, with the fan running, it should match what? Ambient conditions. Let's take a look at that. How do we know if it's actually doing that? So we scroll up here, heat exchanger gas temp, make sure my fan is running. 1 step, there's some air moving across that coil. My ambient temperature is what? 62 degrees. With this being at 0 pulses and at 62 degrees, does it ever rise up to that temperature? And the answer is yes, only when it opens up 2,000 pulses. But look, it falls back down. So let's take a look at that too. You can see here where it goes up and then it comes back down again. Well, why would this come back down if the pulses are still at 0? Because it's bleeding liquid refrigerant by. Oh, no, there it is. That's where it's coming from. So sub 2 module is letting liquid refrigerant go through the outdoor heat exchanger on this particular module at 1 step, and it's flooding back. Now, how else can we measure this? Not only just the ambient trick here, that's the little trick there, ambient over heat exchanger gas temp. We can take away the ambient, and look at this. Heat exchanger gas temp compared to evaporative temp. Oh, my gosh, look at that. Oh, that's murder, she wrote. Look at that, 44.6 and 46.4. But then you can also go a little bit further here and we could look at what's leaving the system. And you can see here that its liquid is flowing so much through this module at such a high volume that it's coming out subcooled. That's not a good thing. 44.6 and 44.6. This tells me that not only is it not matching ambient like it should at 0 pulses, but the liquid refrigerant is flowing through this outdoor heat exchanger, through the heat exchanger, dumping into the suction line, coming down the common suction line and back over to the other modules and creating liquid compression. When does that go away? Well, when that module is actually being used to create hot gas and the four-way valve shifts over. So now it's doing this. It's dumping liquid refrigerant, but guess what? None of these compressors are operational. These 2 are dead. So what's happening? It's going back down like this, and it's going up and over to the other module where refrigerant is actually flowing. This is the path that the liquid refrigerant is taking currently. And the reason we can measure that is because, 1, we compared it to TE, but also we can see that it doesn't rise up to ambient temperature. There should be 0 refrigerant flowing through this line right now. This unit should have no refrigerant flowing through it. It should be at ambient temperature, and it never hits that except for when this module goes into some kind of demand, allowing it to do exactly what this module is doing up here. So there you go. There you have it. Problem solved. Mystery unveiled here. 20 minutes. I'm sorry. These videos get long, guys, but there's a lot of great stuff in here. So much good stuff. So yes, sub 2 module. How do you test this and fix it? I love this part. I've had this happen twice in the field. How do you test it? That's what you're asking me. This is me pointing really closely at the camera and looking at you very intensely. Yes. you take a, oh, you're never going to guess it. So take crescent wrench, pull off the service valve, and you take your number 4 metric wrench, right? Allen key, and you stick it in the hole and you go, that's right. That's because it's really rusty. It's VRV3. Come on. And you close it. And what happens? You can hear it going from, and it stops, right? You can hear the flow of refrigerant through the coil. You can hear the flow of refrigerant through the valve. And guess what happens? When I shut that liquid line, whoa, my discharge superheat goes up. Whoa, my suction superheat goes up. Whoa, everything looks amazing. There we go. Perfect, right? And this can be done on site. Go up to the unit, close that liquid line, right? You've locked that unit out, leave the suction line open, and you're done. That's it. And you can even go a step further, and you can shut the hot gas line that's actually shared to that module. And what will happen is anytime the unit tries to send hot gas directly to that module to do some kind of rotational thing, the high pressure will spike. It'll go into restart standby, and it will never use that module again. Ask me how I know, because I've done it. The VRV3 unit will try to send hot gas to that module, but if you have that valve shut and you have the liquid line shut and the suction line open so the gas can be pulled out of the module over time when it equalizes to ambient, you'll be fine, right? So you can lock out VRV3 modules and do exactly this if you have refrigerant bleed by. And again, this is an easy test you can do on site where you go and actually physically close the liquid line on the unit to make sure that your diagnosis is solid. And that's how you stop refrigerant bleed by on a sub-module like this where you're losing compressors at a constant. So yes, this expansion valve is failed. Now, what do you do for the repair? For this repair, you're going to want to go through and replace all 3 expansion valves on the outdoor units, because if one is dead and bleeding by, you could have the same scenario with another module right next to it. And these are old systems, and so I would just go through and I would do that. I would also recommend the compressor cleanup kits on this system, because these units, they don't like contamination, man. So there you go. We found the liquid. This one was a tough one. I'd love to send you guys some data sets if you actually want to look at them like the way I look at them. But all the same, this is a simple, easy procedure of going through and just valving things off, turning things off, and testing the system to see if it gets better. I guess I will see you guys on the next one. So sorry it took me so long to make a video, but I will keep them coming out here, guys. I'll talk to you later.